Hey everybody, this is Jaffe. I am back again. We are going to go over really quick how to create a form. We're going to do HTML and CSS and style the form. And then in the next screencast, we're actually going to put some PHP scripting in it, make it dynamic to do what you want. This is just going to be a simple contact form. So let's get started. In the title, I'm actually going to put contact form. And again, this is I'm working in Dreamweaver, but feel free to do it. Any code editor that you choose is fine. Um, it doesn't matter because we're actually coding, so you don't need all the special things that Dreamweaver does. So you could actually just do this in regular Notepad if you wanted to. So getting started, let's give a container for our form, and we're going to call that the form wrap. And give it some space there. And let's create the form tag, and again some space. And in the form tag, we are going to start with a field set. So a field set basically groups things together, and you'll see how that works here in just a minute. In fact, let me go ahead and close that contact form so we can start from scratch. First thing we want to do is put a title in here, so we'll give it an h4 tag, and we're going to say contact us or contact me. How about contact me? And let's get going. So let's create our first label. So I'm going to give this label its own class, which you'll see later, just so we can target it directly. But for right now, that's basically we'll see what that's going to do here later on. Sorry. And this is going to be for the label is going to be for the name, and we're going to show what that label is going to be. So it's going to be name, and we'll close out that label, and then we're going to put an input field. This is where you're actually going to be able to type in your name. So we're going to name it name. And we need a label for, we need the label for the email. So we will call it email. And then we need to put the input field in here. So the name of the input field is email. And then let's see, we'll just put one more in here. We'll put a comment field in here. So we're going to be a label for comments, and we'll type it in there. Oops. Comments. And we need a text area for people to write in. So text area name is going to be comments. And we're doing this so that we can target these later on when we start scripting with PHP. So text area name is comments, and we're going to close that out. And let's see. So now we just need to put some buttons in here to make things happen. So we're going to create a new field set. Boy, I can't type today. New field set, and we're going to give these inputs. These are what makes what makes them buttons. So we're going to give them a class of btn and a type. This one is going to be our submit button, and the value of that, this is what it's going to actually say on the button. So we're going to say send email. And let's see, one more. We'll give it a class of button again. The reason for this is because we're going to target this later in CSS, so we want to be able to style these how we want them. And this is going to be a reset button. Okay. When you say submit reset, HTML knows what you want when you say that. So we're going to call it reset form. And let's close out that field set. And that's it. So what we have now is this. Doesn't look like much, but we've got our send email, our reset form, contact me, everything we need here. And you can see here I could put blah blah, block block, and it's going to come off block block. So that's what you're typing here. Alright, sorry my phone was ringing there. Okay, well let's get to styling this. Now instead of using a separate style sheet, I'm just going to put the styling inside the HTML file. So we do that by just creating a style. Now since we are in HTML5, I don't need to put a type. I could just put style in here. But what usually you have to do is put type equals text. Whoops, text slash CSS. Doesn't hurt to put it in there, but in HTML5 you don't have to. It's not required. So, all right. Let's see here. Let's grab the background. This is everything in the background first. So, we're just going to give this a background color of like a dark gray. So 999 will work, and that should give our everything that's HTML that gray background color. Give myself a little bit of room here. Next thing, let's target that form wrap, and we're going to give it some styling here. So let's give it a width of say 600 pixels. Let's give it a border, like a 5 pixel border, and let's make it solid. And let's give it a lighter gray color. And let's see. We would like to have a background color for it, so let's give it a background color. And that background color, let's see. Let's go for a nice blue here. Yeah. See what that looks like. That's nice. All right. And let's get that centered. Obviously, we don't want it over on the left here, so we'll give it 50 pixel margin from top and bottom, and automatic left and right. So that should center us in our browser. My recording is a bit off there, so you're not going to see it, but let me move my browser over here. So you'll see that it's centered in the browser. And what's next? Let's give it a little bit of padding so that our text and stuff is going to be moving down from the top and bottom. So let's do about 20 pixels top and bottom, 0 left and right padding. And there we go. Now our field set's a little bit padded in. What next? Let's grab the form. That's the next thing in line. So we just kind of, if we just kind of go down as we go. I'll get that in a minute. Form, yeah, so form. So let's go back down to the form here. And the form, excuse me, let's give the actual form its own width. It's going to be a little bit smaller than the wrapper, so that it's kind of inside of there. And let's center it in the wrapper as well. So 0 auto, that's going to center it within our wrapper. So everything is now centered, you'll see. Let's target the labels here. The labels, now, as you can see right now, everything is inline, because that's what labels do. They default to inline status. So we want them to be in a block level, one on top of each other here. So all we need to do is put display block, and you'll see they'll automatically go boop, right on top of each other. And let's move them out from the left-hand side a bit. So we'll give it 0 pixels on the top, 0 pixels on the right, 0 pixels on the bottom, and let's say 20 pixels on the left. You'll see that scoots the name and stuff over there like that. And those are all the labels. And let's see here. Let me give them a little bit of margin actually on the top and bottom. They'll just separate things a little bit better here. There we go. space things out. Sorry about that. And for a font, we'll do our shortcut here. We'll give it 18 pixels and just do a sans serif. Don't need to do anything fancy. And a color, let's give it like a grayish color. Okay, what's next? Let's grab these inputs, these input fields, and let's give them a width of, say, 250 pixels. That opens them up a little bit, gives people space to write in them. And we want to match that margin from the left. So 0, 0, 0, and then 20 pixels on the left. And that moves them over. Now this is not an input field, this is actually a text area. So we need to style it separately. So we'll go down here and again give myself a little bit of room. Text area. So we're grabbing the text area and we'll give it the same width as everything else, 250 pixels, and a margin of the same, 0, 0, 0, whoops, 0, 0, 20 pixels. And there it is. So anyway, moving on. So let's grab these field sets. Let's do a little bit of little targeting of them. So these field sets, we'll target that. And open and close. And let's give them a border of none. So you see how these field sets, these come automatically with a border. So if we give them a border of none, it's going to get rid of that. But we are going to give it a background color. And I really like this color, F6. So we're going to style it with that. And we're going to give it a little bit of padding as well. So 0 on the top, 0 on the right, 20 pixels on the bottom, and then 0 on the left. And you'll see that that'll give us that nice color. Push things a little bit away from each other. So that is that. Now let's target this class of label 1 right here. So we are going to put a period that targets the class label 1. And a couple things we're going to do, actually just one thing we're going to do here. We're just going to give it a margin on the top. So by calling out margin top, that means that's the only thing that we can affect. And I'm just going to put 10 pixels in there and let's see. Yeah, should be no change. So that's good. A little bit more room here. And let's see. Let's grab those buttons. So the class of BTN that we created earlier. Let's give these buttons some pictures. So we don't need them as wide as everything else. So let's just give them a width of 125 pixels. Let's see here. There we go. And what is next? Oh, the H4 tag. Let's grab that. So I'm going to grab the H4 tag that's in the form. That way, if there's other H4 tags on the page, I'm only grabbing any H4 tags in the form itself. So let's give it some margin. Let's push it down from the top a bit. None on the right, none on the bottom, but let's go 30 pixels from the left. Let's give it a font. 24 pixels would be good. Make it a little bit bigger, and then just a sans serif. Don't need anything fancy there. For a color, let's do this kind of medium dark gray, CD. And a font weight. Let's make this thing bold. And let's see how that works. It works. Well, I think that about wraps it up for everything. So in this, we've gone over really quick. We've gone to how to create a simple contact form. A contact form, not a connect form. And style it. Now, of course, you can always put this in a separate style sheet, or just to keep the size of your files down. But for something this simple, that's not a big deal. So what we're going to go over next is how to actually script this to make it a functioning contact form, and we'll see you on the next go round.